I call the honourable member, Chris Farfoe, Te Lohani.
Malone, Mr Speaker. Thank you very much. And Mr Speaker, on a day that we celebrate women getting the vote here in New Zealand, and we've had many tributes to women who have contributed to New Zealand, I'd like to actually begin by celebrating or paying tribute to two men. The first one being, not you, Trevor, not you, you'll come second, no, you're not first. The first one is, the first one being Lower Hutt City Mayor Ray Wallace, who obviously has been in touch with his community and spoken to his ratepayers and business owners, and has recognised the enormous concern and anger and frustration that his constituents have with the problem of graffiti. And as another member pointed out earlier in this debate, has gone out and campaigned on that issue during the local body elections, has won mayoralty, and has actually turned his campaign promise and words into action, and partnered with the second individual I'd like to pay tribute to, the Honourable Trevor Mallard, the MP for Hutt South, and has brought this bill to the House. That's enough. That's enough. We'll continue on now. Mr Speaker, I am absolutely amazed about where some of these taggers can do their tagging. If anyone has driven south on State Highway 1 in Wellington and they see the bridge, the rail bridge across Nowranga Gorge, some of these people, louts or sneaky little bastards, as Trevor Mallard has termed them, but some of these youngsters have actually got onto that bridge and tagged that bridge, and you really have to wonder about the common sense about going up on some of those public places and tagging. And if it were, a council staff person who had to go and clean up that, or maybe Kiwi Rail, you'd have to actually do some pretty serious health and safety assessment before you went up there. So some of our youngsters who are out there doing some of this stuff are putting themselves at serious risk of harm when they are doing this tagging on public and in private property. Mr Speaker, this is a bill, as I said in my second reading speech, that I think should, after time, if it works, should be extended to other jurisdictions. And I know that certainly in my electorate of Mana, that the Porirua City Council Mayor Nick Leggett is certainly hoping that this does work on the ground. And that we can crack down on the prevalence of graffiti. But in my case, the Porirua City Council is doing quite a good proactive job of making sure that graffiti, when it does go up, whether it be on public land or whether it be on private land, they're doing a pretty good job of making sure that they liaise with the property owners or with the homeowners to make sure that comes down pretty quick smart. Mr Speaker, as Trevor Mallard said, there is a sense that there is a serious lack of cohesion within the community, perceptions of things not being as safe as they should be when there is a lot of graffiti in public areas, certainly around shops. And there's certainly one property in the Porirua area where it has been an issue where the owner of the building hasn't been proactive in making sure that the considerable graffiti that has been on that building is taken down quick smartly, and the community has sent a message pretty loud and clear that they're not happy with the visuals, or the optics, I should say, of that extensive graffiti in their neighbourhood, because it is bringing down their sense of community. They don't feel good about that graffiti being there, and as has been mentioned by a number of speakers, there is the issue of house prices that they certainly want to take into account. And if you were selling your house and across the road is a rather large building with extensive, if one were to be selling their house and across the road was a building with extensive tagging that hadn't come down in some time, then you'll be pretty frustrated about the visual pollution that was across the road. Mr Speaker, there is also, so what this bill does is it allows the council to apply to a private property owner where there is graffiti and it's visible from a public place to apply to that property owner, and that property owner has 10 days to get back to them to ensure that they have the ability to go onto that private property, which they don't have at the moment, and get rid of that graffiti. And I think that's a very pragmatic approach, and that's why I think there will be other councils around the country who will be watching these measures very closely and congratulating the Hutt City Council and Trevor Mallard for taking this action, because they will see this. Hope that it works in Hutt City, and I'm sure Trevor Mallard and Ray Wallace and Chris Hipkins in the Hutt as well, of course, and Parikura Horomia, hope that this measure works, and Reno Te Rakatani, and I think most of the MP and Charles Chevelle, and I think most councils around the country will be looking at this experience and hoping that it works for them and that it can be extended out to their situation as well. Mr. Speaker, I think I would speak on behalf of most members of Parliament that we are all probably members of graffiti. I mean, victims of graffiti, victims of graffiti, whether it be on our election offices, or every 3 years when we put up our hoardings, every 3 years, and the carnival of the campaign begins, we all become. I think it would be very rare that a member in this House or any candidate any election is not a victim of graffiti. And I certainly had one case where I put a hoarding on my house, and 45 minutes later, less than an hour later, one of these, and I won't refer to how Trevor Mallard referred to them, but one of these youngsters, I'm assuming, was there within, I won't use that term, but one of these youngsters had obviously seen that I'd put this hoarding up out in front of my house, and within the hour had shown his artistic abilities on one of my hoardings. I took it, I managed to rub it out using nail polish remover, but then the very next day, he was back again. Don't ask where I got the nail polish remover from. But the very next day, the very same person had been back, obviously because I recognised the tag that was on the hoarding. So, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of all members of Parliament and candidates for office, we all share in the pain of those people who have been victims of graffiti, and no doubt in a couple of years' time, when we go back to that phase of democracy, we'll be back out there trying to repair some of the damage that has been done to our hoardings. I would like to take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to actually pay tribute to some of the local heroes in the Porirua area who have been working for many, many years to make sure that they eradicate graffiti from around the city. Most of them out of a program run by the Porirua City Council. And I'd just like to mention Charlie Devonish and Miranda Pitney, who is formerly from Housing New Zealand, who did great work in making sure that they identified public places and put up tag-free or tag-resistant murals in those areas. I'm thinking of the mural in Hampshire Street, which I had the pleasure of helping to paint, and also on Mungavin Avenue, close to Holy Family School. And it's those kind of projects, as Julianne Genter said, that we should be focusing on beautifying those areas where tag is target, and making sure we make those as positive. We see the positive in this, and turning them into areas which we celebrate and make sure that are visually stimulating. And then I think sending that message out to those who might want to tag it, that they should stay right away from it or suffer the consequences. Mr. Speaker, also to the former graffiti management coordinator from the Porirua City Council, Trevor Mason, who worked very hard and is now retired from that role. He did very, very good work in terms of eradicating the graffiti there, and also to the group known as WAG, the Waitangiroa Action Group, a bunch of very well hard-working mothers who go out and paint out a lot of the graffiti very quickly as soon as it is put up in the Porirua East area. I also need to mention Liana Leatawa and Lepetitia, who worked as coordinators as well to make sure graffiti is stamped out in the Porirua area, and John Poppleton, who used to be with Keep Porirua Beautiful, who has also worked hard to keep Porirua looking as beautiful as can be.
Call Chris Ockenville.